Well, it must be Mask Fanatic time once again, because you caught me sneaking around up here in the dark corners of the attic. And you know something? I found this humorous. More importantly, let's get right on to tonight's mask. You know, the most famous and historic and trend-setting, iconic mask company in the history of Earth. I don't know about some of the other planets, but the Earth's most trend-setting and historic mask company was, of course, Downpost Studios. A lot of their masks were in production for many years, but occasionally they would do licensed movie characters that would not be in production very long at all. Such is the case with this week's mask, which was only available 1 year, 1985. It's this guy, the alien Hitbeast. Hitbeast, you ask? What's that? Well, he's an assassin, so it's like a hitman, but he's a hitbeast. Now, in the movie that in which he appears, which was The Last Starfighter from 1984, he's actually referred to as an interstellar hitbeast, and he's given his species is given a name. He was a Zandozan. And no, I don't know how you spell that. I think it starts with X, if I remember correctly. But it's not important, because Zandozan isn't the official name of the mask. The official name of the mask is simply Alien Hitbeast, and here he is. Now, once again, only available 1 year. He wants to know what's up with that, huh? There were 3 masks from The Last Starfighter, which, by the way, great movie, I think. I like Last Starfighter. A lot of cool creatures and aliens and interesting effects and cool stuff in it. And by the way, it's the first movie ever to do all digital computer animated space effects. There are no, you know, like when you see the spaceships and so forth, that was all done with computers, which now they do that and it's very sophisticated. But in 1984, it was not that sophisticated, but this was the first movie to do all of its outer space effects with computer graphics. Anyway, there were 3 masks in this series, along with Alien Hitbeast, or as he prefers to be called, Zandozan. Along with him, there was Grig, who was sort of a lizard man, who was a lot more of a player, a character in the movie. This guy shows up for like 5 seconds. You know, you barely get a look at this guy. But yeah, I know you're not happy about it, but that's the way they edited the film. You know, that's the way the old skull bounces. In addition to Grig the lizard and Hitbeast here, there was also the tentacle alien, a thing with a bunch of tentacles in the front and 6 eyeballs, and kind of looked like a relative of Dagon or Cthulhu, you know. Anyway, there were those 3. All 3 of them only available that 1 year, and today highly sought after by collectors, although not that well received at the time. I think because at the time I thought they were all too small. They were all small masks, hard for people to wear. Now, this particular copy is bigger and nicer than some of the ones that you're likely to see elsewhere. In as much as, I don't know if you can see, there's a line around here. You see that line? That is where the mask was traditionally cut. So it didn't have any of this stuff going on around the bottom here. It was just cut off right where that line is. Okay. But when I say small, when I said it was too small, I wasn't talking about it was cut off too short. No, that's fine. Not every mask needs to have a neck. That's okay. I mean, the whole head size was really small, and the latex wasn't the greatest quality. It turned out that a lot of the latex that Downpost was using in the mid-'80s didn't hold up as well as some of the other latex formulations that had been used previously. So a lot of those masks deteriorated and started to crack and sag and just don't look as good today as they did then. So if you find one that really looks good, kudos, buy it if you find one that really looks nice. And if you find one online, ask the seller what kind of condition the rubber is in, because you don't want one that's sagging and rotting and falling apart. No, you want one that's nice and healthy and still in good condition in terms of the latex. Now, another interesting thing about this mask is, for some reason, there was a last-minute change to the sculpture, and people don't seem to remember what happened, so I have no idea what happened. But if you look at the catalog photo from 1985, this is the one you'll see, this sculpture, but then the mask that actually was produced and the one that people actually got when they ordered it was slightly different. You wouldn't notice the difference unless you compared them, But he looks like the same character basically, but the more common version, some of these lines are just different. There are a different number of lines and wrinkles, and this stuff is all different, just a little here and there. Unfortunately, the overall effect is not as cool as it is on this one, because this one looks a little more mean and hateful and angry and nasty, which is how we like our Hitbeasts, right? Of course. The one that was mass-produced looks a little less threatening than this guy. His teeth are a little shorter and a little less pointy, a little more blunted, you might say. And even though everything's in pretty much the same places, he looks slightly less scary. He looks slightly, I wouldn't say benign exactly, maybe B7 or B8. Now, somebody seeing this for the first time might think that, oh, they must have done a sequel to The Exorcist on Admiral Akbar's planet, and this must be like a demon-possessed Admiral Akbar, because that's always kind of what he looked like to me. No? Okay, maybe not. Now, the Dawn Post Mask Edition had varying types of hair pattern. He generally had some clumpy hair on there, usually 3 in the front. This one is more movie accurate, because in the movie it kind of looks like he's got 3 mohawks going on. So that's how this one was done. And talk about a ton of copyright information. Right on the back of the head, this one's got a whole novella on here. We'll have a brief reading from the book of Zandozan. It says here, The Last Starfighter, Alien Hitbeast, 1984, Universal, Lorimar, joint venture, all rights reserved, trademark a Dawn Post mask, Dawn Post Studios, Inc. That's pretty wordy. That's a lot of text to have on the back of a mask, isn't it? But that's how they did it back in the day, folks. Yes, sir. And whichever version you find, whether it's the rare one that was used for the catalog photos, like you see here, or the mass-produced one that was the slightly different sculpture, still a great mask and a cool creature design, and still a cool thing, especially if you like 80s movies. And as I said, I liked Last Starfighter, so if you haven't seen it, check it out. And, well, watch out for those Hitbeasts.